and welcome to our third video already on Into Design. And today we're going to talk about a small detail inside of Henry II, the luggage strips. But they are quite important, and we'll show you why. Inside of the car you see some images of the final element there, of course in an H shape for Henry and Henry II, so there's a 2 and of course the H in there. And here the overview of the full interior with the rear seat folded flat. And we'll tell you more about the CAT model you see behind it in a little bit and how we came to that. It starts with handmade sketches. So we designed fully bespoke luggage for this car, matching with the interior, with the piping, the colors, the shapes of the seats. And these are just some very early ideation sketches on these bags. We'll go into that in another video, but today we're going to talk about these luggage strips. And what we wanted to establish was just 3 luggage strips from afar, and then coming closer, actually a little discovery moment, maybe not the first time the client would see them or the second time, but the third time. And to establish that, we decided that only the middle one, the middle strip, let's say, would have that H pattern that you see on the left on the screen. And the outer 2 should be supportive in their shape, so similarly shaped, but not exactly the same. And we also didn't want too much going on, especially when that rear seat moves upwards. We didn't want these edges to be too complex shape-wise. So that meant we have 1, 2, 3 different sides here, 1, 2, 3 different sides, matching the outer side there, and the inside 1, 2, 3 on each side, so 6 would be a bit more simple. We'll show you that a little bit later in CAT, but that was the essence of the plan we made. But then how to make the Henry II logo that we'll show on screen now. That was a graphical application to the bags, for instance, to tread plates, to a little element in the glove compartment and many other places. How can we make a graphical element, a three-dimensional element, without it, for instance, damaging the luggage? So we went through many different iterations of, again, how to make that graphical H into a three-dimensional H, and how to make the second, so Henry II, the vertical 2 elements, pop out a little bit more. How to make sure there would be an interesting interplay with light and shadow. An interesting amount of depth is needed for that, and nice facets running around the shape. How angular or how flat would these strips be? Here we have a soft corner, and that actually was something we pushed on into the design, because that's coming from the fender of the Rolls-Royce Corniche donor car. So that softness in the fender, that roundedness, is very much in there, in that strip. And you see here we go slightly more geometric, slightly harder, flatter surfaces. Maybe even integrate like a pattern that we could then also integrate somewhere else into the car. How do we again solve the major, let's say, shape into the end caps, which is not like an end cap, it's a complete volume, but of course it is the end of the strip. Again, we go back and forth between more three-dimensional, softer and more flowy shapes, and we make sure we experiment a lot to come there. Eventually we put that model into CAT, and Tim will share a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
So middle with the H pattern, left and right supportive with rounded corners. Of course, there we would eventually apply a rubber. So these are the screw holes that were used to apply the elements to the car. But to take it away and talk about the surface ideas that of course come from the Corniche fenders, and how we applied that to the metal work here.
So yeah, if we can see over here, we can recognize the H and the two fender bulges, we called them during the process, with even a small feature line running this way, which can also be recognized in the car. So these are the ends on the opening of the car, with the rounded off, with them being rounded as a whole,
Yeah.
as the rear end of the car isn't straight as well. So we wanted to make it bespoke and perfectly fitting to the the boot floor.
Yeah.
So this is that opening, and when we go through the part where the seat is folded, which you can see here, we've made them shorter and less
And straight.
Yeah, less intricate,
Yeah.
and then running back again.
The reason is there's so much happening here. Whether the seat is up or down, there's of course carpet. There is a little bit of leather trim on the side of the rear bench. There's a little bit of leather trim on the side of the rear luggage area. And we didn't want to complicate things even further. And we want to have the idea of the strip basically having a continuous flow, which isn't the case at the end there or at the end there. So here you can also see the ends are slightly different from the middle. There's still that edge. We can zoom in a little bit on the surface quality because we worked quite hard on that. And I think if we go down a bit, that's also interesting to show. There is this little facet there as well, running around. You can see that one, which in real life is only...
I guess 4 millimeters? 3? No, even less.
Less.
Even less.
Yeah. It's 2 to 3 millimeters. Yeah. But a lot of attention to detail in the quality of the surface, the skin of the volume of that element.
Which you can clearly recognize in the close-up over here.
Yeah. There's a few images that we'll put into the video where you can see that intricateness and that quality of surface. And this is an important part as well, indeed. Nicely milled with the H pattern on there. I'll show it to you. And that you can show that on the cat model as well, Tim. That's nice actually to see. You'll see it over there. It's on the strip. So it sits. The shape sits on the strip on the back. So these are the feet, the middle feet of the back, that will land on the strip like that and make sure that the back doesn't move side to side in the car. And of course they have their little H pattern. So this is the graphical logo that we just talked about that shaped the end of each and every luggage strip inside of that interior. Tells you a little bit on how far we go with our projects to really make sure that every single detail is bespoke to the car we design. So thank you for tuning in to this third video on Henry II, and we're looking very much forward to telling you more of this very special car, now enjoyed by the patron, in our next video. Cheers.